Heyo, you fucking marked. It's time for another Crimson Ring podcast, no DQ style. It is no Dayquil because we don't need it. We can get through the day. I'm Nathan, and with me is Doug.
Hey, thanks, Nathan. Welcome to the most professionally unprofessional professional wrestling podcast in the game, featuring the underrated,
Undisputed,
underappreciated,
uncooperative,
tag team podcast champions of the world. That bit kind of fell on his face. Hey, how's it going today, Nathan?
I mean, I thought it stood up pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's giving us frowny faces already.
Who the fuck cares?
Not us.
And with our sponsor, Blue Chew, you'll always be up. All right, so let's get on to the news before we do fake sponsors.
Yeah.
It's not a sponsor.
Just rub some Blue Chew on it. Okay, so we're going to do news and tweets, and my phone just locked on me. It's unlocked. All right, good. So, yeah, there's important news, and I got to find it.
Okay.
No. Okay, so Sami Zayn put out a tweet.
Yeah, and then deleted said tweet.
Yeah, it said, just wondering if the idea of me versus Finn at SummerSlam got kicked around.
Do you think it did? Like, that was the plan and they went another way, and this was his, like, passive-aggressive way of talking about it?
I hope so.
Because it seems like a very Sami Zayn thing to do.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and just like Sami Zayn, I don't care about it. So we're going to talk about Joey Janela and Enzo. They got into a fight at a Blink-182 concert,
Which
apparently.
may be the most New Jersey thing I've ever heard.
Hey, man, it's the Jersey life. Blink-182, fights.
Snookies, JWowws, The Situation. I don't know any other people.
Listen to the new podcast, The Situation of JWoww and the Snooki. I don't know if that'll actually be a podcast, but MTV might pick it up.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about AEW's Fight for the Fallen. It's sponsored by Farrah & Farrah, a law firm that were fined millions in 2017 for filing over 1,250 false claims.
That is a lot of fake news.
So it's not real?
Well, they're false claims, right?
Oh, I don't know. Let's read about it. It says, Farrah & Farrah, which has offices throughout Florida and Georgia. Yeah, they need to definitely type that better. Another Jacksonville law office, the Weiner firm, filed 1,250 Wilner. They filed these false claims, including some on behalf of people who never smoked and some who were dead. The ruling states, Wilner and Farrah violated their obligations by failing to inform themselves about the facts of most of their client cases. The ruling states, had they done so, they would not have advanced hundreds of complaints involving dead plaintiffs, people who never smoked, people who never lived in Florida, people who did not authorize a lawsuit, and people whose claims had been previously ejected.
Yeah, means thrown out.
So, you know what that tells me?
That they're perfect for the wrestling business?
I guess so. They're shady as fuck.
It's a carny game, bro.
All right. In other news, Becky Lynch will be on the cover of ESPN magazine.
Yeah, with Annie.
Allison Brie.
Yeah. Whatever. So
Who can also be seen on that show Glow on Netflix, which is really good.
Yeah, I think season 3 comes out in September.
Oh, I'm going to watch that like as soon as it comes out. Just binge watch the shit out of it.
That's what's good about Netflix. We have our new podcast, Netflixing, with Nathan and Doug.
Yeah, we never get off the couch.
Huh. Any other news?
Separate couches.
Why can't they be the same couch?
I'm gassy.
I'm okay with that.
Oh, okay, fuck it. Sit on the love seat.
I have anosmia.
Apnea?
No, anosmia.
I don't know what that is.
I can't smell stuff.
You're smell blind?
Yeah. I done gone smell blind.
Oh, my God. Dewey Cox would be pissed. All right. Let's see. Oh. Well, I guess we could talk about this. Kevin Owens was on the Chasing Glory podcast, which is okay. And one of the things that he said during that podcast was during his Universal title run, he doesn't remember enjoying it.
That seems legit to me.
Yeah.
with all the stuff we've heard.
Well, I just think it was the way that the title came out, and Finn Balor won it, and then had to give it up the next day, and I just feel like how would you enjoy it because you just got fed to Goldberg, who got fed to Lesnar, and then Lesnar kept the belt for 3 years. I don't know.
Yeah,
how long he had
I
it.
think it was roughly a quarter century.
It was way too long.
But if we're going to talk about champions, we should talk about our champion.
We have a champion?
We do have a champion. Folks, it's official. We have the inaugural Crimson Ring multidimensional champion.
Woo!
Nikki Cross.
I was pulling for her.
Yeah, I think we all were.
Yeah, in some way.
Congratulations, Nikki. We want fighting champions here, so you got to have a match at least once every 3 weeks.
I don't think that'll be a problem. She wrestles every show.
No, that's what's great about it. That's why I wanted her to be the champ. She can lose it by pinfall or submission, no DQ, because we are no DQ podcast.
No Dayquil.
If for some reason her title is vacated, the winner of the first match on Raw will become our new champion.
I like it. Sounds good. Also, news. The Steve Austin podcast had Jim Ross on it.
Yeah,
and that was interesting.
Sauce?
They talked about. Well, I don't think they mentioned the barbecue sauce.
I don't believe that for a second.
He did mention that he got his kitchen redone.
Yeah.
So that was kind of interesting. And
did you go with marble?
I'm not sure.
What kind of wood did he use on the cabinets?
The best chestnut.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I just made that up.
No, that's the best wood though.
Oh, that's why I made it up though. I didn't make up the wood, like it exists.
Yeah.
Okie.
What?
He's an Okie. He's from Oklahoma, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See how that played in?
Yeah, no, I was there. I marked out on that.
I didn't even mean to. Okay, so he's on the Steve Austin podcast. The biggest thing to pull away from this is he did mention that Wednesday was looking like going to be the night for AEW show.
Yeah. Which I thought that was already a thing, but I guess it hasn't been confirmed.
Confirmed it. Like
right.
It's just been like, well, maybe Wednesday. I don't know.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That's what people sound like.
That's like
to
a
me.
spot on Tony Khan impersonation.
I'm not going to make fun of Tony Khan on this podcast.
Well, I'm not making fun of him.
I have respect for him.
I have respect for all of these guys. Yeah. Most of these guys. I have respect for some of these guys.
I'm glad you clarified. Also, on the ENC pod of Awesomeness, which none of these sponsor us or give us money, but they could if they wanted to.
We're open to it.
R-Truth was on there, and that was interesting because I learned a lot about R-Truth that I did not know.
Anything you want to share on this podcast?
He's old. That was genuine. That wasn't a planned laugh. That was a genuine laugh. No, he calls people that don't have any I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Charisma, yeah. Pieces of corn, because they just go in the same way they come out. They're just corn. And I thought that was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, no, I get it.
He did a promo that Vince didn't like, and Vince said that didn't sound right. And he goes, well, you had a piece of corn. Come and give it to me. And I delivered it the way that they presented it to me. And he really needs someone to hype it up to him so it's hyped up when it comes out.
Huh.
He called a lot of people corn. It was hilarious.
I think he's probably one of the best things going right now in the WWE.
I just realized we have corn in the DQP.
We do?
Yeah. Shane.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to say anything else negative about Shane.
Well, we're trying to cut back on that. We've been told that, we don't want to cause strife in the DQP.
In their office memos.
Yeah.
But
cob of corn.
It's fine. I didn't say it. I fully agree with it. I support it. I think you're 100% correct, but I didn't say it.
Yeah. Cob of corn reed.
Tree trunk legs.
All right, so.
All right, going on. Are we ready for the state of the podcast?
Is there any other news we need to cover?
No, I think I killed the news.
Yeah, no.
I shot it in its face. It's dead now.
You wooded the news. Bang.
All right. So last week, during my big July 4th, America's birthday celebration, you promised to give your most patriotic wrestlers, and you did not.
I didn't study for this either.
So, Nathan, your
Yeah.
top 25 most patriotic wrestlers.
I didn't say 25.
I think if you go back and listen, you did.
All right. That's fine.
All right.
Okay. So we'll go from 25 to 1. Are
Yep.
you ready?
Yep.
From 25 to 6 is John Cena. All right. So,
I didn't see
covered
that
it.
coming.
yeah. I didn't see any of them either.
Yeah.
This is weird. Okay. So, number 5. Patriotic wrestlers. I'm going to just do this off the cuff, okay? Jake the Snake, number 5.
Why?
There's nothing more American than carrying around a big old snake in a bag and smoking cigarettes
I feel like that's
and being Jake.
I feel like that's more Irish than American.
Irish American, Doug.
All right, I'll allow it.
All right. Number 4, Psycho Sid.
Again, why?
Dude, do you ever hear him cut a promo? He was very hillbilly. That's American.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see where we at. Number 3, Junkyard Dog.
I mean, can you PPR, can you replace my why into this just after each one he does?
No, it'd be better if you just said it.
Why?
Junkyard Dog was a total American.
Because he wore a chain around his neck?
Because he was more for the common man than Dusty Rhodes.
I don't agree with that for 1 second.
Well, I mean, whatever.
Dusty Rhodes was the son of a plumber.
Yeah, and Junkyard Dog was junkyard dogging around, being champion in Mid-South.
All right.
Yeah. Number 2,
Numero dos.
Jeff Jarrett.
Fuck you, man!
Yeah. He didn't sing his own country songs. He came out strutting. That's American. You ready for number 1?
No.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Bret Hart.
I quit.
You gotta ask why.
Why?
He brought Americans together in the Attitude Era. That's American. Those are my top 5 top patriotic wrestlers.
Oh, and that's why we didn't do it last week on America's real birthday.
Oh, we had to wait for. We should have done it on Canada Day.
That was like a month ago.
That was the 1st of July.
Yeah, it was like a month ago.
So, do you think that Canadians try to make their holidays better by putting them before American
I
holidays?
have a long-running theory that this is true. They do Thanksgiving early. They do Christmas the day after. They call it Boxing Day, but nobody gets punched in the face.
That's super disappointing
I
because that's what
know.
I think of too.
Okay.
So, on our new podcast, Canning the Canadians,
Yes.
we will talk about this.
Crapping on Canada.
Canada?
Yeah, that's where the Canadians are from. Otherwise, they'd just be Canadians.
Drive a GMC Canada.
Oh, okay. So, last week, also, state of the podcast situations.
Yeah.
You guys decided to insert your buddy into our show.
Cobb Reed.
Yeah. Listen, I understand that he likes wrestling. I'm for that. I want everybody to like wrestling, and I want to hear their opinions. But at least have the balls to show up when we're here,
Yeah.
especially if you're going to insult us. So I'm going to issue an open challenge. Shane, why don't you come here and try to host this show better than us? If you're just so fantastic at being the host and dragging on and telling me whatever stupid trivia crap you read on IMDb.
Yeah.
Why
Like
don't
a
you
dragon.
like a dragon?
You said dragon on, and I thought about dragons.
Okay, welcome to a new podcast, dragging on about dragons, but that's not the point right now.
It's a D&D podcast.
Yes. Shane.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, you totally made me lose my train of thought.
And that's what this podcast is about.
Yep.
Also brought to you by ButcherBox.
Welcome to you. Brought to you by Norfolk and Southern, because we're off the rails.
Yes. I hate choo-choos.
Anyway, Shane, if you've got any stones at all, you'll come on and you'll try to host.
You know what? I think that's a damn good idea, and I'm just going to spit this out here. You ready? Here it goes. That was good. Sunday, I'm going to watch Fight for the Fallen and Extreme Rules. Taking the night off work to do this.
All right.
Okay? So what if we do that and then have him do the recaps for those, and he tries to host us that night? He's not working that Monday. I know he told me.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
All the way.
Challenge has been issued.
Yeah. It's there. He doesn't even know.
So either he's going to show up and try to host the hostless,
Yeah.
or he's going to prove how much of a coward he is.
We already know.
Yeah.
He should really use that tiny tin.
Not going to do it.
Okay.
All right.
More
Moving on.
sop. Good state of the pod.
Yeah, stop.
Let's see. You want to talk about the thing we didn't talk about like 3 weeks ago?
Guys, Sammy Callahan did some stuff.
Sammy
but
Callahan?
Yep. Sammy Callahan got out of hand. But it happened like a month and a half ago, so I guess go to your local library and check your archives on the monofilament things.
People don't know what that is.
Microfiche.
They have internet. No, what did Sammy do?
He destroyed an arena for MLW, caused like $7,000 worth of damage, which they couldn't afford to pay.
They couldn't afford $7,000.
It's a low budget. I mean, they don't. A lot of these lower indie things, feds don't have a whole lot of disposable
You should
income.
probably subscribe to Court Bauer's Patreon and help him pay for the damages.
That's right. Here we are.
I'm not endorsing that. No. How about you give us the money?
And we'll give it to him.
And we'll give it, I'm doing air quotes, to Court Bauer.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
All right. So we want to get off our soapbox?
Step it down from the soapbox. Breaking news that's going to be come out later. There was some justice crushing done, where people were trying to get catfished or trying to be catfished, or they were catfished. I'm not quite sure, but we're gonna noodle these guys because there is a imposter. Darren Young, you're petering out there. Come on, keep it up.
This is going on longer than I thought.
Yeah, where a fake Darren Young, or is it,
14,
was trying to get money from these marks, and the marks they're gonna bring it on later and tell us about it when they're crushing justice and noodling the catfishes. Okay, so we're gonna move on to you want to talk about a spotlight?
Yeah, let's do a spotlight on Tatanka.
This is for Bill from Indy.
Yes,
right?
Bill from Indy wanted to know all about Tatanka. So, Tatanka, born Chris Chavis, June 8th, 1961, is a Native American professional wrestler currently signed to the WWE under a Legends contract. He's part of the Lumbee tribe, and his ring name is a Latoko word that means buffalo.
I knew that from Dances with Wolves.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I did not. I don't like Kevin Costner's. All right. I am now solo hosting this podcast.
I don't know how you don't like Kevin Costner.
For the same reason I don't like Nicolas Cage or John Travolta.
Oh, well, we're going to have a new podcast called Doug's Fucking Wrong. No, tune in. Finish talking about the buffalo.
All right. Chavis started competing in powerlifting. He competed in his first bodybuilding contest, Mr. Virginia Beach, placing second. He won many competitions during his time in bodybuilding, but decided against competing on a national level. In 1987, the NFL Players Association had a strike, and he received many tryouts for NFL teams, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Redskins, and the Raiders. He decided to pursue a career with the Dolphins. Chavis was one of 20 hopefuls offered a deal out of approximately 2,000 tryouts. The Dolphins offered him a free agent contract with the availability to increase after the first year, but he declined since his income at Bally Total Fitness would exceed the value of the contract, which seems ridiculous to me. But, I mean, I guess gyms in the 80s paid really well. In 1989, Chavis left Bailey's to pursue an accounting career. He met the nature boy Buddy Rogers in Florida at a video store while looking for wrestling tapes. This is just weird as shit.
That is interesting, though.
Rogers had Chavez call Larry Sharp, who ran a wrestling school in southern New Jersey called the Monster Factory. He had his first match as Tatanka against Joe Thunder in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on January 13th, 1990.
That's a cool fucking name.
Yeah.
Joe Thunder.
I like the Monster Factory, too, because you can't just say it normally.
No, you have to say it with some, gusto.
Yeah. Rogers introduced Chavez to George Scott. Scott was starting his own wrestling promotion called the North American Wrestling Association, which later became South Atlantic Pro Wrestling. Chavez wrestled under the name War Eagle and was voted the third runner-up for Rookie of the Year in Pro Wrestling Illustrated in 1990, which is a pretty big deal.
Yes, it is.
Also in 1990, he became the South Atlantic Heavyweight Champion by beating Ken Shamrock, and not long after, he signed with the WWF. Chavez received his first tryout match on February 18th, 1991 against the Brooklyn Brawler at a WWF Superstars taping. And on October 21st, he received what was another tryout match on a Superstars taping, this time defeating Skinner. In November, Chavez began wrestling house shows under his given name, and soon after retook the name Tatanka.
Which is more badass.
Yeah, way awesome. Tatanka made his television debut as a fan favorite on February 1st, 1992, defeating Pat Tanaka in his debut match. As Tatanka, Chavez performed a war dance that was the Lumbee tribal war cry, and ran to the ring. He also wore a red stripe dyed in the middle of his hair. You guys can't see me pointing to my head.
Nope, but I can.
Yeah,
It's fine.
Was it good for you?
It worked.
Okay. Tatanka was pushed as an undefeated, and he did not suffer any defeat by pinfall or submission, but he lost several matches at house shows. The first being a count-out loss to Rick Martel on June 4th, 1992 in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Hey, the model, Rick Martel.
Tatanka's earliest rivalry on television was also against Martel, and it culminated in Tatanka's pay-per-view debut at WrestleMania 8, with Tatanka winning. At WrestleMania 9, Tatanka received his first televised title shot against Shawn Michaels for the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
And?
Tatanka won, but by countout.
Oh, so he didn't win the title.
No, he won the match, but not the title.
Okay.
Tatanka suffered his first televised defeat against Ludwig Borga after Mr. Fuji distracted the referee and Borga hit Tatanka in the back with a steel chair, which we all know how dangerous that can be. After the match, he was attacked by the WWF champion Yokozuna and was out of action for 3 months because that dude was notoriously unsafe. Tatanka returned to the WWF in the beginning of 1994. He was scheduled to face Borga in a rematch at the Royal Rumble, but Borga had injured his ankles just days before, so he was replaced by Bam Bam Bigelow, who Tatanka defeated.
Bam Bam.
Yep. Tatanka was honored by retired professional wrestlers Chief Jay Strongbow and Chief Wahoo McDaniel, and by Lumbee tribesman Ray Little Turtle on an edition of Raw. Little Turtle presented him with a full-length Lumbee tribe chief headdress, in which Tatanka engaged in a storyline feud with IRS, who insisted that he pay gift tax on the item. That's the entire reason I included that, because that is just brilliantly ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it is.
During the summer of 1994, Tatanka accused Lex Luger of selling out to Ted DiBiase, which resulted in a match between the two. Afterwards, DiBiase entered the ring with a red, white, and blue bag full of money. Luger kicked the bag out of DiBiase's hands, resulting in Tatanka attacking him and turning him into a villain at SummerSlam, joining DiBiase's $1 million corporation. Tatanka was suspended on August 30th, reportedly as a preemptive measure, for being named in a lawsuit filed by a woman stemming from a Anaheim, California incident following a WWF event in late 1994.
Uh-oh.
Have you heard about this?
No, but why is it always lawsuits stem from Anaheim? There must be something going on out there.
It's easier to sue people in California.
Oh, okay. So don't go to California, people.
Not if you don't want to get sued. Okay, so according to sources, the woman was said to have been drugged, sodomized, and her head shaved on one side. The woman was having drinks with him and The Undertaker the night prior. When the wrestlers were leaving the hotel the following morning, Kevin Nash noted that she was seated between two police officers. The hallway was smeared with blood, and she had half her head shaven, and she was crying.
What the fuck?
Yeah. During representation, Tatanka's attorney showed facts that Tatanka was not involved in the incident at all, and that it was actually Jimmy Del Rey. Jimmy Del Rey was fired from the company, and Tatanka's suspension was lifted, and he returned to full pay on the active roster.
Who's Jimmy Del Rey? Is that little Jimmy? The one that R-Truth talks about?
I certainly hope not.
Okay.
Because this dude apparently had a history of doing this to people.
Shaving their heads?
Yeah.
And sodomizing?
I don't know about the sodomizing, but I'm going to say yes.
So, wait, this guy wasn't a wrestler?
Yeah, he was. We're going to do a spotlight on him in the future.
Oh, tune in.
Yeah, it was crazy. Okay, so following this hiatus and at the end of August of 1995, Tatanka returned to the WWF and competed in the Royal Rumble event where he was eliminated by Diesel. On March 19th, 1996, Tatanka wrestled his final televised match for the WWF, losing to WWF and American hero Bret Hart in a non-title match.
You damn right.
Tatanka left the WWF in the spring of 1996, citing family and spiritual issues.
Okay.
The steroid testing. On August.
Wait a minute. Didn't they suspend steroid testing in like 97 to like 2006?
96 to 2006.
Yeah.
And that's why he quit.
Because
He was spiritually...
he wasn't cool with people taking the roids.
Nope.
Okay.
He was a good dude.
Yeah. Because during that time, Triple H definitely got way buffer.
Uh-huh.
Naturally.
Of course.
Yeah.
On August 1st, 2005, Chavis returned to Raw and was intended to be a special one-time guest appearance for Eugene on a Eugene Invitational.
Oh. I liked Eugene.
I did too. Chavis returned to full-time schedule in the end of 2005, debuting at a December 27th house show teaming with Shelton Benjamin to defeat Carlito and Jonathan Coachman. He returned to television in the Royal Rumble match on January of 2006, where he was eliminated by Joey Mercury and Johnny Nitro, Johnny Thunder, Johnny Impact,
Johnny Menudo.
Yep, John Morrison,
John Menuno?
John Menendez. That's not right.
Yeah, neither of those were.
Chavis also teamed with Matt Hardy to defeat Eminem, the then tag team champions.
You mean like the rapper?
No, as in
Just for the people that don't watch wrestling, you know?
no.
And why are they listening to this podcast? I don't know, but I like the fact that they're listening.
Yeah, and we accept you, but find out who Eminem is. Or collective nouns.
Marshall Mathers.
On April 28th edition of SmackDown, a vignette played announcing that a new warrior would soon be forged into Tatanka. Over the next 3 weeks, footage aired of Tatanka being legitimately adopted into the Oglala Sioux tribe, the Lakota.
Mm-hmm.
When he returned to wrestling, Tatanka defeated Simon Dean with his new finisher, Wakanayan, which is the Lakota word for thunder.
Thunder. They got
Awesome.
thunderstruck.
Also a great name.
Insert that song.
Okay. He asked for and was released from his contract on January 19th of 2007, but not before ending his losing streak by defeating Jimmy Wang Yang, his first victory in months. WWE.com noted the event with these parting words. Tatanka is an accomplished veteran of the squared circle. The Native American made a splash upon his entrance in the early 90s, remaining undefeated for nearly 2 years. Tatanka made one more appearance on the Old School Raw edition on November 15th, 2010, with Ron Simmons, Dusty Rhodes, IRS, and the Millionaire Man, Ted DiBiase.
$1 billion man.
And on November 3rd, 2015, they announced that they signed Tatanka to a Legends contract. And on April 3rd, 2016, at WrestleMania 13, Tatanka competed in the Andre the Giant Battle
Did you say WrestleMania 13?
No, 32. Maybe I did say 13. I meant 32.
Okay. All right. Because WrestleMania 13 was in 97. So.
Nope. This WrestleMania 13 was on 2016.
WrestleMania 13 plus 19.
Yeah.
What you were doing.
Right. 13 and then some.
Okay, cool.
Where he competed in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royale and was among the last to be eliminated.
That didn't have cheese on it.
It did not. Ours is way better. And that is a spotlight on Tatanka. But I mentioned another guy a few times. And I feel like we should also spotlight him.
Well, do we want to mention him or do we want to wait till next week?
I think we should go ahead and do it now.
Like, do the whole spotlight on him?
Okay, we'll just tease it.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about the Millionaire Man.
What? Was that Jimmy?
What?
I thought we were going to talk about Jimmy Del Rey.
No, I'm talking about Ted DiBiase, bro.
Oh, you want me to do that spotlight?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about that one guy, and I was like, holy shit. I didn't read that.
No. That will
Okay.
be next week because that's one that I got to heavily edit.
Okay. Well, let's talk about Ted DiBiase, or Theodore Marvin DiBiase Sr. is an American former professional wrestler, manager, ordained minister, and color commentator. He is signed with the WWE, working in their Legends program. He is regarded by many as one of the greatest villains in pro wrestling history, I would agree. IGN called DiBiase one of the most gifted technical wrestlers to ever grace the squared circle.
I fully agree with that.
All right. Ted DiBiase was trained by Dory Funk Jr. and Terry Funk. He made his professional wrestling debut as a referee in June 1974 in the Amarillo territory owned by the Funks. He went to Mid-South territory of Bill Watts, being promoted as the son of Iron Mike in 1975, and he wrestled for 4 years. His first match was a loss against Danny Hodge. Now, when I say Iron Mike, obviously I'm not talking about Mike Tyson.
No, you're talking about his stepdad.
What?
Ted DiBiase, Iron Mike
Okay,
DiBiase.
I was going to say. I was like, wait, hold on a minute. This is getting weird. All right, so DiBiase had a short stint with Vince McMahon Sr., that's right, not Junior, Sr., in World Wrestling Federation, that's the WWF, in 1979. And it was in the transition from being called the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, and he was awarded the short-lived North American Championship and becoming the title's first champion. On June 19th, 1979, he lost the North American Championship to Pat Patterson, who unified the title with the fictional South American Championship to become the first ever Intercontinental Champion.
We talked about that before.
We did. He was Hulk Hogan's opponent in Hogan's first Madison Square Garden match. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
DiBiase. DiBiase
Nope.
also spent some time in Georgia, where he had an early face run. One legendary angle, DiBiase endured 4 pile drivers, 1 on a concrete floor, 3 in the ring, administered in the WTBS studio arena by the famous Freebirds, or the Fabulous Freebirds, before his tag team partner, Tommy Wildfire Rich, threw in the towel. The angle of DiBiase being badly injured was so real, the TBS studio audience could be seen crying. Rich and DiBiase later feuded, leading to a loser leaves town match in which DiBiase won. Do you have something to add, Doug?
No, just that I like that he was so good at selling, he made people in a studio audience cry.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. In the early to mid-'80s, DiBiase participated in angles in various territories, feuding with the likes of Ric Flair, best known from this point in his Mid-South return, with the likes of Bob Roop, Paul Orndorff, Dick Murdoch, and the Fabulous Freebirds, and One Man Gang. DiBiase turned heel against the Junkyard Dog, one of the
Yes.
he's number 3 on my list there. And formed a group called the Rat Pack with Jim Duggan, Matt Bourne, and ran Mid-South for months.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that.
I know, I was starstruck too. He also held various championships and made frequent trips to All Japan Pro Wrestling until he eventually departed from Mid-South Wrestling. wrestling.
Wow.
Words are hard. Which by this point was also known as the UWF because they changed names.
Yeah, they do.
DiBiase entered All Japan Pro Wrestling in '83. He won the NWA United National Championship in October 14th of '83 in a tournament, defeating Jerry Lawler by forfeit. 2 months later, on January 28th, 1984, DiBiase lost the title to Michael Hayes.
Of the Freebirds.
Yep. While locked in talks with the NWA in '87, after the UWF was acquired by Jim Crockett, DiBiase received an offer from the WWF. DiBiase eventually convinced by the WWF to sign up, despite the fact that he would not be told his gimmick until after he agreed. Under the promise of that was something that would receive a serious push. WWA official Pat Patterson informed DiBiase that if the owner, Vince McMahon, were to go out and wrestle, it would be a gimmick that he would give himself.
And
this is one of the best gimmicks there is.
Yeah.
DiBiase made his return to the WWF as a babyface on May 15th of '87 at a house show in Houston. He came out to the ring to announce to those in attendance that it was only fitting that he was now competing in the WWF. At the next house show in June 7th, DiBiase would have his first match and lose to One Man Gang. He went on to lose 2 additional house shows confrontations to the Gang. DiBiase would tag team with Sam Houston on June 26th of that year against the One Man Gang and Ron Bass. Let's see here. Oh, towards the end of that match, DiBiase turned and attacked Houston after Houston missed a drop kick on Bass, leaving him to get double teamed and pinned. His actions during the match served to effectively turn DiBiase heel right before the on-screen debut of his new gimmick. Now, I'm going to cut away from reading this for a second because the $1 Million Man gimmick was genius. And he basically gave DiBiase so much money a week to just blow and do whatever with, like throw it out in the crowd or whatever, hand to people. Basically, he paid for him to fly first class, have a limo, a driver, the whole 9 yards. How can you say no to this?
Yeah.
All right. On June 27th episode of WWF Superstars, DiBiase had his first vignette. He would be known as the $1 Million Man, a millionaire who wore a gold-studded, dollar-sign covered suit in time, a custom-made, diamond-encrusted, self-awarded $1 Million championship belt. The $1 Million Man character was based on the type of wrestler that Vince McMahon would want to be. He was billed as having a spring residence in Palm Beach, Florida, a summer residence in Hannesport, Massachusetts, and an autumn residence in Bel Air, California, and a winter residence in the Netherlands. DiBiase claimed everybody has a price, demonstrating his power through a series of vignettes in which he did things such as bribe the managers of local swimming pools to close for the day so he could have the pool to himself, or when the honeymoon suite in a hotel was already booked, he bribed the desk clerk to have the couple already in there thrown out. Other skits featuring DiBiase traveling in limousines, giving $100 trip tips to waiters, and using $100 bills in convenience stores for small purchases like chewing gum. In reality, DiBiase's road travel was deliberately booked as first-class airplane rides, 5-star hotel accommodations, and he was given a amount of petty cash from the WWF offices so he could throw money around in public, like I was talking about earlier. In order to make the character seem more real, other times DiBiase invited fans, including a young Rob Van Dam and a then unknown Linda McMahon, to perform humiliating acts, such as kissing his feet for money. Vince did that to his wife?
Yep.
That wasn't in the VKM game? Okay, his first big in-ring angle came in late '87 on an episode of Superstars where he announced his plan to buy the WWF World Heavyweight Championship from Hulk Hogan. As Hogan refused, and said that DiBiase would have to defeat him in the ring for the championship belt, Hogan got the upper hand in a series of matches, and a frustrated DiBiase approached Andre the Giant to win the title for him, which did happen on February 5th, 88 edition of the Main Event, which live aired on NBC. Andre would defeat Hogan under questionable circumstances for the WWF Championship. This was the match that infamously, who is the true Dave Hebner debacle?
Yeah, you don't remember that storyline?
It was so long ago.
It was the debut of Earl Hebner. So up until that point,
Oh, yeah.
Dave was like the ref, and then his brother came in, and basically
Okay.
Earl, any kind of shady finish has been done by Earl Hebner throughout the WWE, who is now also a referee at AEW.
All right, well, the match finished with Andre pinning Hogan when his shoulders were up. Andre then announced that he was surrendering the championship belt and handed it to DiBiase. In the following days, DiBiase was, in fact, billed as WWF World Heavyweight Champion in 3 house shows, defending the title one time against Bam Bam Bigelow. At the Royal Rumble in 1989, DiBiase purchased the number 30 entrant spot from Akeem to become the final entrant in the match. Big John Studd and DiBiase were the 2 final participants in the match. DiBiase offered Studd a bribe to eliminate himself, but Studd eliminated him to win the match. He defeated the Blue Blazer on March 11th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event. After the match, he introduced the WWF $1 Million Championship as his own championship belt, which was not recognized by the WWF. He created this belt because he was unable to buy or win the WWF Championship from Hulk Hogan. In 1990, he was punished for buying the number 30 spot in the previous year's Royal Rumble. For his punishment, he was forced to enter as entrant number 1, and he broke the record at the time by lasting 45 minutes in the Royal Rumble match. After entering number 1, he eliminated 2 opponents before he was eliminated by the Ultimate Warrior. Ted DiBiase officially formed the tag team Money Incorporated with IRS. The duo, mostly managed by Jimmy Hart, won the WWF Tag Team Championships 3 times, February 92 and June 93. So in that year span, they won it 3 times. That's pretty impressive. DiBiase then began to work as a commentator, manager for the WWF. Later in 94, DiBiase purchased the contracts of many wrestlers for which he would make the $1 Million stable in the WWF. Over time included IRS, Bam Bam, Nikolai Volkov, Kama, King Kong Bundy, Psycho Sid, 1-2-3 Kid, and in a swerve, Tatanka. And I noticed that it didn't talk about that WrestleMania main event between him and the vacated WWF title.
Yeah.
For when he fought the Macho Man.
Yeah, because he lost.
But still, that was like a big match. And I just want to point out that he should have been champion at one point in time. That's what makes a good villain. Shitty writing then. He had originally brought The Undertaker to the WWF and was going to bring him back. Ted DiBiase debuted a new Undertaker under his control. This Undertaker, however, proved to be an imposter, played by Brian Lee, and was subsequently defeated by the real Undertaker at SummerSlam. He was also the manager for the Ringmaster, probably the greatest wrestler ever. But nope, wait, he became Stone
Becky
Cold
Lynch?
Steve Austin. Ooh, brother. All right, and then he was the manager for Stone Cold Steve Austin and eventually had to leave because of a stipulation with a match with Savio Vega and like a loser leaves town thing, and then eventually went on to WCW. And in WCW, he became the 4th member of the New World Order, along with Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and former enemy Hollywood Hogan. On August 26, 96, nearly a month and a half after their formation in July of 96, DiBiase quit the NWO shortly after Spring Stampede, and less than a few months later, on August 4th, 97 episode of Nitro, He made a face turn and managed the Steiner brothers. DiBiase then became a road agent for the company and left entirely when his contract expired in 1999. In 2013, DiBiase said that his time in WCW, Eric Bischoff doesn't know much about wrestling. Eric took credit for the NWO, but that wasn't his idea. The NWO had already been done in Japan, so they had copied something that had already been done. It was a good idea, but originally I was supposed to be the mouthpiece for the NWO, and in reality is I think Eric saw how it was getting over and saw how he could put himself in the role that he had hired me for. As each week went by, pretty soon Eric isn't the announcer anymore. He just becomes a part of the NWO, and I just went to talk to him one day and told him I'm not just going to walk around out there and be Hulk Hogan's Virgil. That's good. You hired me to be a spokesperson for this, so if that's not what I'm going to do, then you can send me home. The reason I said this was because they had to pay me one way or the other because I had a contract where they had to pay me for 3 years.
And that is why the WCW failed.
Yeah. In late 2004, WWF offered DiBiase a job as creative. He accepted the job and worked as part of creative team for a year and a half. In April of 2005, DiBiase was hired as creative consultant and road agent for SmackDown brand. DiBiase is now a Christian minister, and in 1999, he founded Heart of David Ministry and travels the world ministering to churches, camps, and conferences, including Promise Keepers and Youth of Nation. DiBiase was announced as a first inductee of the 2010 Hall of Fame class for WWF.
That was a lot of stuff.
Yeah, thanks for that. I could have summarized, blown through it.
Yeah, but then
We
it's
definitely filled time,
it's not a spotlight then.
I guess.
You gotta shine a light on the man's career.
Or bore your audience.
I don't think they were bored. I was enthralled.
Enthralled or engorged?
Can it be both?
Fuck it, I guess.
While these guys attempt to get their shit together, we're going to introduce a new segment called Justice Crushers. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Markley, how you doing?
Good, how you doing?
Oh, I'm all right. Got more fun since coon dog.
Hey, Mark, how you doing?
I good. How you doing?
Good. I heard you Marks went down to the fishing hole.
Whoa, we got ourselves a catfish this week, fella.
Yeah, we was noodling down at the fishing hole.
Noodling? Well, you tell our audience about your noodles.
Oh, I don't know if that's appropriate. I don't like talking about. Don't put me on the spot.
All right, I won't go. You come on now, Mike.
Okay. You want to talk about the noodling?
All right, yeah.
Okay, so we's running the Twitter accounts for the Big Smoothed with not the ED, so he says, and then we running the other Twitter account for the Wonderful Woodscale Man.
Yeah, boy, we got him right now, though.
Yeah.
We got one of Darren Young 14.
At
Them Darren Young 14s, that's right, Mark.
Yeah, it goes at the beginning of the thing. And so I was using this phone apparatus for the cellulars. And the cell towers, they sent down a message from the Freddie Rosser III, but he said no days off. And he said hello, and I was like, OMG. Hi. Then he tried to get me to be his friend and send some requests for some monies. And I said, oh, okay, well, what do you need? And he has a security company with a briefcase for all this cash, and he was offering me 20%. Well, 20% ain't good enough, and I said it was interesting, but I would like 30. Because that's what the Big Smooth would want. He would want more money.
Oh, you got that right.
He didn't want to spend his Saudi money because he said, oh, I don't want to spend my Saudi money, which very confused him and asked him where he was from. So I thought of the most southern place that you could be from. Lexington, Kentucky.
Oh, that's right. Don't get more southern than Kentucky, you know?
Yeah, and then he got very, can you do this favor for me and pay these delivery fees? Which sounded sketchy to me, but I had the extra cash. I was willing to do it. So he said, what is your home address? I didn't want to give him my real address. And then I told him that I had a box of Saudi money that I needed to wash the ink off of, which was very confusing to him. And I was very confused myself. So I said, hold on and let me get this information. I wanted to give him a proper address. So I found an address in Lexington, Kentucky from the cellular device to get to him, which was the police department.
Oh, that's a brilliant move, Mark. How you do that?
I thought about it for a very long hour. And then I asked him for an autograph, and he said when we meet, he'd give me the autograph, but he needed me to go to the store. And I said, my dad's got the truck because he dropped us off at the fishing hole.
Well, yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah, and then I had to start improvising, and he said I need to get Steam wallet cards. Well, I've never steamed my wallet before. Well, that don't make no sense.
And why would you need a card to steam your wallet?
I don't understand why. He said he needed $350.
$350 for a wallet?
Good Lord, that's a lot of money.
To steam it. I said, you told my buddy you needed $400.
That's
And
me.
I thought it was because I was prettier and better looking. And then I asked him if he could do a podcast because Big Smooth wanted the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, since you're getting the cards, you need to go get it now. And I said, okay, do you want to call me and I'll go get the cards and we could do the podcast? Because I figured Big Smooth finally let me be on the big radio phone stuff, which is a podcast.
Yeah.
I used air quotes for the first time in my life. Then he informed me that he couldn't call me because he didn't want his management to know about his business dealings.
Well,
And I was
that
like,
seems mighty shaky if you ask me.
I know. I said, well, would you like it to text the podcast or use a payphone? Because we had him down south. And he gave me a random-ass number that, after asking the Big Smooth, he said, do not call that number from my phone. I'll be real pissed. I said, okay. And he said he could text me, but I did not text that number. I felt that we were communicating just fine on the tweets. So I said, only text. Okay. I said, can we send pictures? And then I didn't want him to get the wrong idea, so I said classy, not naughty.
That's a mighty respectable
And
of
then
you,
I said
son.
I was trying to find my wallet because I really didn't want to spend any money.
Well, you gotta steam it.
Well, anyways, he said, you have my pic, check my profile. I said, well, you can't send a regular picture? That's fine, whatever. So I said, my pa's here. Do you want to do the podcast now? He said, go get the cards now. I said, okay, sir, you are bossy. Because he was being kind of mean. He said, of course, I want it done now. Can you go get it done now? I said, I'm in the Ford and I'm driving because Southern folks in Lexington, Kentucky only drive the Ford trucks.
I'm a Chevy man myself, but I respect that.
I drive a Toyota, so I don't even know what the problem is here. I said, please don't be mean to me. I'm sensitive. Because I really am in real life. I'm just a sensitive Cajun man. And he said, okay. And then I asked if I could ask him some podcast questions, like, is it rough being a gay man in today's society in wrestling? He said it was not difficult in the wrestling industry being a gay man, but I don't feel like the person that he was trying to portray, Mr. Darren Young, I don't feel like he had very much knowledge on this man, which I learned from listening to the Crimson Ring podcast. I told him I was at the store, and I said, how much? He said, each card should be $100, and you're getting $350, which didn't make any mathematical sense to me, so it must have meant that one card had to be $50. Took me several minutes to figure that out on my own, but he told me to take a picture of it and send it to him. I said, wait, I'm going to send the pics. He didn't get anything, and I said, did you get anything? He said, nothing yet. I sent him a picture of a hot dog, which Twitter must have thought was my danky, and then it bleeped it out. I was just trying to send a picture of the hot dog I was eating to show him that I was busy consuming food. I said it must have blocked the photo. Hold on. And then I tried to send it again. I said, why won't it send? I spent all of my rent money on these cards and the pic won't send. And then he figured it out that I was messing with him. I didn't spend my rent money on this. And then he said, you are a joker. Please free me. And then I was very confused. I said, are you in prison?
Well,
And
was he?
I don't know. He blocked me.
Well, that doesn't seem quite right at all.
Would you tell me about your conversation with @DarrenYoung14, please?
Well, mine went pretty similar to yours. So he comes up to me and he goes, hey, I wanted to get in touch with you just like you did, with the security and the money in the briefcase.
Yeah.
And I said, well, that's crazy. What can I do to help you with your responsibilities today? And he said, mostly, I don't want my management team to know. And he offered me the same 20% he offered you. I wasn't smart like you was. I didn't ask for more. I just agreed to help the man because that's the kind of fella I am.
I just went to Louisiana College.
I ain't got no fancy book learning like you do.
I just went for an economics degree.
So, I tell him it seems pretty easy to do. Give me the security company's name, and I'll hop in my truck and go on down there. I ask him to do the podcast too. He says, well, yeah, I'll be happy to do that. Just give me your home address, and you can pay for the delivery fees, and I'll have it shipped.
Yeah.
And I say, well, of course, they're going to be recording in a few hours anyway. Why don't I just get your number, and you can set up with them? He says, no. It'd be easier if you just send them the fees. And I say, well, do they take a check? And he says, no, it's going to cost you $400 in Steam cards.
I don't understand this Steam card stuff.
I didn't either. I said, what's a Steam card? He goes, go down to your Walmart, go to the electronics section, and you'll find a card with the Steam on it.
Why did he make you go to a very fancy store?
I don't know. I normally go down to the Piggly Wiggly and get all my supplies and clothing and boots and hair gels and all that.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
I love the Piggly Wiggly.
But I think this here Darren Young, he's a famous fella, and he's a little fancy. Not that there's anything wrong with that. He must want the fine products at your local Wally World. And I say,
it's great value.
I say, all right, I'm going to head on down there. But you're still going to do the podcast for us, right? He says, yeah, of course I will. So I ask him again for his number, how to get in touch with him and get him on this podcast, because I know the Squirrely D is going to love me for this. And maybe I'll get to be on the radio, too.
You might even get 4 inches out of it.
Oh, man, it'd be great if I got all the way to the top of that wood scale, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I says, well, how can we contact you for the podcast? Because we're getting ready to start right now. And he says, well, first you got to send them. I need your home address, and you got to give me this $400, and then I'll give you my number. And I say, well, sir, you know we're a podcast, right? And you know what kind of podcast we is? We're the kind of podcast that looks for catfishers and scammers. We track your IP address. It takes about a half hour. But we found you. If you just sit on tight, police will be right over there with you. Oh, boy, you know we did that? You know I'm going to block me, too, because we got him, boy. We got him.
Yeah. I heard that PPR guy, he's going to look into arresting that man.
Well, he not very nice impersonating a fine young gentleman like Darren Young, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. That's not a thing you should do on the twits.
No. Twitter is a respectable social media device, and it should be held to the utmost of all standards.
Yeah. I love the Twitter. And if you want to follow me, the Cajun Mark, you can find me on MySpace.
Yeah, and you can find me on Friendster. That's me, Dex Mark. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Let's talk about F for the F and X rules.
Okay, guys.
Let's talk about those match cards.
We have competing pay-per-views for the first time. We have an AEW pay-per-view on Saturday and a WWE pay-per-view on Sunday. So the current card for Fight for the Fallen is the Young Bucks versus Dustin and Cody.
I love it.
Kenny Omega versus Shima.
Kenny's going to win.
I would hope so. SoCal Uncensored versus the Lucha Brothers. And the winner of this gets a bye.
Val.
Well, they get to fight the best friends at All Out for the bye.
So the winner gets SoCal Val?
Yeah. We got Hangman Page versus Kip Sabian. Brandy Rhodes versus Allie.
I've never seen Brandy wrestle.
I haven't either. This is kind of weird. And we also have a 6-man tag match, which features Joey Janela, Jimmy Havoc, and Darby Allin facing off against Sean Spears, MJF, and Sammy Guevara.
Whoa. Is it a 6-man?
Yeah. 6-man tag match.
Sean Spears is on the same team as MJF?
And yeah, well, Spears is a bad guy.
But
He's a heel.
But that doesn't make sense because MJF was very concerned about Cody.
Because that was a shoot, brother. And MJF is friends with Cody in real life.
I don't understand.
Okay, so there's like this world
So
of
there
wrestling.
should be tension between MJF and Sean.
Maybe there will be. We don't know.
Oh
Tune
my God.
in this Saturday.
Well, now I have to watch.
And that's on the buy-in, so make sure you tune in at 7:30, and that's for free on the BR Live app.
The whole thing's free.
The
Doug.
whole thing is free. The
Yeah.
whole shabazzle.
You know what? And you don't have to pay $10 a month to watch this wrestling.
No, but you do have to pay $60 next month to watch All Out.
Yeah, I got to save up me nickels.
Okay, guys. No, we'll just business write-off.
PPR pays for it.
Yeah, make
Got
the
it.
network pay for it. All right. Sunday, we've got Extreme Rules. We've got a winner-take-all match with the man and the man's man versus Baron Shanehead Corbin and Lacey Evans.
Yep.
And that's an Extreme Rules match.
It means like ladders and stuff.
I guess. I don't.
How extreme? Like the rules are so extreme that you can't even sneeze wrong or you get disqualified.
Yeah. Well, it's probably that way because it's a
Extreme
mixed
Rules.
tag match.
I say just make it an intergender match.
Yeah, they don't. They only do that when it's a Blanchard involved.
What?
Oh, you didn't see? I guess we can talk about it a little bit. Let's pause on the rundown. Okay.
Paused.
Impact had Slammiversary last week. Which
Yeah.
we don't really talk about Impact because it's not like a real thing. But Tessa Blanchard was in an intergender match and just beat the crap out of the dude. It was good.
What was the guy?
Jobber 17. I don't remember.
Okay.
I watched the highlights on the Reddits and it was good.
It was a good match.
It was a good match.
Tessa Blanchard's badass.
Yeah, she's scary.
All right.
Okay, back in
Unpause.
WWE Championship, Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe.
Brock Lesnar's going to cash in.
You think so?
I'm calling it.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be on Seth. Everyone expects it on Seth. It's going to be on Kofi,
Oh,
which makes it more devastating.
I assume it's on Kofi. I just didn't think it'd be till the premiere episode of SmackDown on
No.
Fox.
It's going to be this week.
All right, we've got Roman Reigns and The Undertaker versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre, and that's a no-holds-barred match. Which
Undertaker.
every Undertaker match is a no-holds-barred match.
Hopefully after this we can get rid of this Shane being involved in stuff.
No, bad news. We have
Bad news Brown's going to show up?
Yep. We have a U.S. Championship match with Ricochet versus AJ Styles.
The club.
We got Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley in a last man standing match
I feel like I've seen this match.
for the past 3 months.
Yeah.
SmackDown Women's Championship is now a 2-on-1 handicap match featuring Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss versus Bayley.
Oh, man. So does the person that pin win?
I think Alexa gets the title no matter what.
But if Nikki accidentally pins Bailey,
I still think.
that's a good swerve.
Yeah, but I think that Alexa still gets the title. And I assume that's what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
SmackDown Tag Team Championships, Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus The New Day versus Heavy Machinery.
Go Heavy Machinery.
We have Aleister Black versus Cesaro. Cesaro was the one knocking on his door. Cruiserweight Championship match, Drew Gulak fights Tony Nese.
So it's a rematch.
Well, the last one was a triple threat.
Oh, yeah, it was.
They had Akira Tozawa.
It's a cool fucking name.
Yeah. He also does the "You're Fired" thing. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, you need to watch 205 Live. It's like, "You're fired." It's really good. Intercontinental Championship match, Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura, not Sami Zayn. And the Raw Tag Team Championship, The Revival versus the Usos.
But SummerSlam, it'll be Sami Zayn. So.
I
No?
disagree. Choose to disagree.
Okay. So either ways, to clarify, Shane has been challenged to host that episode where we watch these two pay-per-views and have them go head-to-head.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah, he's just a piece of corn. Moving on. We have a continuation of a saga of one of the greatest professional wrestlers ever, Big E Langston.
All right. This is the Big E saga, Chapter 3. And this chapter begins not with Big E or Finn, but with one named Bailey. For you see, Bailey is an anomaly in the WWE universe. Bailey is the only sports entertainer that is openly a fan of sports entertainment. Going from town to town with this band of adventurers brought Bailey enormous joy and filled her every day with happiness. Although her parents were supportive, they never quite forgave her for quitting Yale just two credits shy of her doctorate in hugonomics. Still able to put her minor in robotics into use, she crafted giant pneumatic flailing automatons to accompany her to the ring each night. Hers was a life filled with wonder and delight, radiating as a beacon to the rest of the WWE universe. A light that the fiend inside Bray Wyatt always hated. It whispered to Bray her name and showed him visions of the world in which the demon could bring. Bailey, it whispered. She must be undone for the demon to fully rise. Finn was hesitant at first. Not wanting to harm any innocents was the entire reason for sidelining the club. But he had also felt the power that Big E holds, and he shuddered at the thought of him gaining more. Steeling himself, he agreed to the plan, as Alistair uses his power to pull them back into the Black Room. With only a single week remaining before the Hell in the Cell, Big E and the other members of the New Day are greeted in the locker room by the planet's champion, Daniel Bryan. Knowing full well the power and influence that Bray has on people, and fearing the damage that a full-powered demon could cause, he offers to teach Big E a secret technique that could turn the tide of the battle. For a price, of course. He will train Big E only if Kofi gives him a title shot at Survivor Series. Not wanting to risk his friend's title, Big E tries to refuse, but Kofi agrees before he can even start. He will sign the papers immediately if that's what it takes. Bryan, impressed by Kofi's selflessness, states that he trusts them and that training must begin immediately if Big E has a hope of mastering it. Finally, the night arrives. The pay-per-view goes on and is filled with undercard matches too boring and pointless to name. But through it all, no sign of either Big E or Daniel Bryan. Woods, the ever-quick-witted, tries to triangulate the GPS tracker he'd hidden in Bryan's dirty hippie beard. Kofi goes out onto the ramp and cuts a filibustering promo that would put Jimmy Jewett to shame, when suddenly Woods gets a hit. He's in Gorilla. Big E is here! Big E is here! With nary a word, Big E confidently strides past the exhausted Kingston, entering the cell. Then darkness. Only darkness. Red light bursts through the area, and the demon is already in the cage. Not only that, but the Fiend and Alistair are standing atop it, holding a bound and gagged Bailey.
Oh, my God.
Darkness again. Cold, silent darkness. Then the fiery red erupts once more, and all three are gone. Everything is gone, save Big E and another creature in the ring. The entire cell has been transported to a hellish wasteland, and the demon looks hungry. The battle raged for hours, possibly days, with neither Big E or the demon gaining the upper hand. Even with all his training and the power of America on his side, the demon's kicks and jabs were beginning to take their toll. The demon scales the cage and does a coup de grace that killed 6 French nobles with its impact, and Big E went down. It was then that he felt a scaly form holding him down. 1, he heard, not understanding quite what had happened. 2, he couldn't let it end this way. Not now, not here. There had to be something he could do. With all his might, he raised a 46-inch python arm off the ground and stopped the dreaded 3 count. It was then that he heard the whispers, Big E, Big E, Big E, Big E. The demon seemed to hear them well, and he hesitated and looked confused. This was his moment. Through the fog of the wasteland, it seemed as though his new teacher was watching and nodding in approval. As he dropped the straps of his singlet down, he bellowed a mighty roar that shook the heaven and began charging the demon. Launching himself, he landed a knee so powerful that it exorcised the demon completely from Finn's body. And with that, it was over. He easily knocked over the wall of the cell and walked to the mat, the new Intercontinental Champion. As he made his way up the ramp, he heard Finn. "Hey there, you won, and that's all fine and dandy. But you let me survive, and I'll promise you this, our next match is going to be too sweet." Join us for Chapter 4, Survivor Series.
That was beautiful. PPR is sleeping, but I am not. I am fully awake.
Thanks, man.
That was great. I don't know if there's anything else we need to cover this week.
No, I think we're pretty good. Like we said earlier, we're going to have a special episode, whether or not Shane decides to show, featuring a head-to-head matchup on these pay-per-views for the weekend.
It's going to be beautiful.
It's going to be beautiful. And then, obviously we'll have a regular weekly show next week where we talk about Jimmy Del Rey. Do we want to talk about the steroid thing?
Let's save that for a following podcast. I think there's something else we can do with this.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like, are we going to announce that we're not going to talk about steroids?
Well, basically, we said we were going to talk about the steroid trials, and we're going to hold off a couple weeks on this because we may have come up with a really great idea to present this.
Definitely came up with a really great idea.
We got to get PPR on that. And
yeah. Well, it's always
get
hard to get his attention because there's so many other important people.
Yeah.
But we haven't forgotten. We're just retooling.
Yeah, there you go. So, plugs.
Yeah.
Should we plug it?
Let's plug it in.
All right, plug it in.
All right. You can reach me on Twitter at Woodscale1.
Mm-hmm.
You can also reach the DQPN at DraftyQ.
And you can reach me on the Twitter at Big Smooth. And if you need to email us questions, you can get a hold of us at draftyq@gmail.com.
Yeah.
You can also follow Shane on christianmingle.com.
Farmers only.
Yeah. Username the Cobbyist Cobb. Reed.
He's going to hate us.
He already does. Fuck it.
Yeah.
So should we queso it up?
Yeah. All right. Cheesy ending.
Get the chips. This was the Crimson Ring on the DQP Podcast Network. And in the meantime, folks, remember, if you want the crowd to pop, just get some color.